The old slave spent half his life digging in the mine, finally unearthing a priceless sapphire. He thought he could exchange it for a bowl of food from the king, but before he could speak, he was mercilessly killed by a soldier. A young boy, witnessing lives being treated as worthless, could bear it no longer. He seized the sapphire from the soldier and dashed towards higher ground, drawing a totem symbolizing freedom with his hands. The oppressed slaves, seeing the spark of rebellion, raised their hands in response. Before they could ignite a revolution, the leader of the rebellion was seized by the king's guards, prepared for a public execution. Despite this, Hewitt, undaunted, raised his hands high, hoping to ignite the flames of rebellion in his people's hearts with his own life. Just as the executioner's axe was about to fall, a mysterious force whisked the boy away to a hidden cave. The Wizard Council, who had long been guarding the earth in secret, moved by Hewitt's resilience, decided to grant him the power of the Egyptian gods to overthrow the tyrant's rule. As the familiar incantation echoed through the skies, the boy was enveloped in lightning, gaining immense power. Yet, as Hewitt led the resistance to victory, the king struck back, launching a bloody massacre on his family. By the time Hewitt returned home, it was too late. To save his barely alive father, Hewitt guided him to transfer the power of the gods to Adam with a spell. However, unprotected, he was mercilessly slain by assassins sent by the king. Witnessing the brutal deaths of his wife and children, Adam's heart ignited with rage. As his divine power darkened within him, a superhero born of vengeance emerged. However, the king, obsessed with dark magic, would not surrender easily. He immediately ordered craftsmen to use the eternal essence mined by the slaves to forge the crown of Shabak. Once the ritual was complete, he believed he would gain the power of ancient demon gods to dominate the world entirely. Yet, as the servant was about to present the crown, a bolt of lightning struck, reducing him to ashes instantly. Adam's towering wrath shattered the king's dreams of grandeur, instilling fear in him, leading to desperate pleas for mercy. Consumed by hatred, Adam showed no mercy, unleashing immense power and reducing the palace, filled with evil, to ruins. However, the violent resolution contradicted the Wizard Council's intentions. They deemed Adam unworthy of the power of the gods and demanded a price be paid. In a battle lasting 3 days and nights, Adam managed to defeat the 7 wizards. At a critical juncture, with 6 wizards fallen, the last one in the gray robe exhausted a lifetime of divine power to seal Adam underground, never to see the light of day again. The crown of Shabak disappeared, never to resurface before the public. It wasn't until 5,000 years later that a group of archaeologists ventured into the ruins of the once glorious Kandak Empire. According to inscriptions found on the ground, a superhero corrupted by hatred lay dormant here. It was crucial not to awaken him, as the consequences would be dire. Fortunately, the group was only after the crown of Shabak and didn't waste time on Adam. Soon, they discovered the demon crown suspended between 2 massive rocks. Adriana, upon seeing this, set her flashlight down and climbed up with determination, took aim and leaped, successfully acquiring the crown. Before she could celebrate, a troop of mercenaries stormed in, using Adriana's brother as a hostage to force her to surrender the crown. Reluctantly, she complied, submitting herself to capture. The mercenaries, seeing the situation, showed unexpected mercy, preparing to let the other party leave final words. Unexpectedly, Adriana took this opportunity to read the incantation on the stone tablet. Several lightning bolts descended from the sky, instantly hurling the mercenaries into the air. The individual turned out to be Adam, sealed for 5,000 years. Although aware of the hostile presence, one of the mercenaries bravely approached, attempting to unveil Adam's veil. In an instant, however, he was seized by the neck by Adam, his flesh peeled away amidst agonizing cries. Ascending into the air, the other mercenaries, caught off guard, immediately aimed their firepower at the man. Yet, facing Adam, akin to a deity, conventional weapons proved futile in causing any harm. In a matter of moments, the mercenaries were mercilessly slaughtered. Capitalizing on a moment of Adam's distraction, Adriana hastily picked up the crown, preparing to leave the place. She narrowly escaped being crushed into a pulp by a falling boulder, but Adam intervened just in time, saving her life. Seeing Adam shift his attention back to the mercenaries, Adriana urgently urged Kareem to flee. Upon boarding their car, they discovered that the mercenaries' reinforcements had arrived. Encircling Adam, They swiftly aimed and launched an intercontinental missile at the target. To their surprise, when the smoke cleared, Adam emerged unscathed, a spectral image moving to the rear and colliding with another helicopter. The ground forces, witnessing this, immediately directed tanks to fire armor-piercing rounds. However, despite their efforts, they could not inflict any harm on Adam. Tens of thousands of highly trained Special Forces soldiers appeared feeble and fragile in the Adam eyes, akin to ants. Despite a variety of heavy weapons being brought into play, they only ended up receiving blows. In a matter of moments, apart from Adriana's car that had come to an abrupt stop, no one else could unravel the questions in Adam's mind. However, before he could inquire why he had been awakened, the surviving mercenary who had narrowly escaped loaded a shell. Adam, nonchalantly, took it and began to toy with it. Unexpectedly, this missile was crafted from eternal gold. Even the godlike Adam struggled to withstand it. A wound ripped open on his abdomen. He mercilessly dispatched the mercenaries, then soared into the sky, preparing to leave the scene. Yet, the next moment, due to his severe injuries, he collapsed to the ground. When Adam awoke from unconsciousness, he found himself taken back to Adriana's home. Although 5,000 years had passed and Kandak was vastly different, they had never truly experienced freedom. Adriana's son hoped Adam could help them drive out the international gang of invaders and save the people from peril. Before Adam could act, the League of Justice took notice of this notorious anti-hero, initiating a capture operation against Adam. For the people of Kandak oppressed by the international gang, Adam, the legendary superhero, was undoubtedly their hope for freedom. However, the arrogant mercenaries, accustomed to their oppressive ways, refused to believe, brandishing their batons to strike. To their surprise, the pure steel weapons bent instantly, while Adam remained unscathed. Witnessing this, their comrades aimed and unleashed firepower on Adam. Yet, the dense barrage of bullets felt as ineffective as a tickle to him. Even as they swiftly adjusted their strategies, laying ambushes from all directions, they found themselves defenseless against Adam's lightning-fast movements the moment they reached for their guns. In the end, they could only explosively burst into coins and perish. The scout hiding in the turret noticed something amiss and once again launched an attack on Adam, completely enraging him. He soared into the sky, grabbing two mercenaries, and let them experience free fall right in front of the League of Justice. While Adam was decisive in his killings, the League of Justice believed that criminals should face legal judgment. Kent immediately dived down to rescue the thugs in the midst of the crisis. The people of Kandak, witnessing this, responded with continuous cheers, seemingly unwelcoming towards these hypocritical superheroes. In contrast, Adam's swift and clean actions earned him applause from the crowd. Facing the towering Kent, Adam, fueled by hatred, would not easily compromise and swiftly launched a lightning attack at the two. Helpless, Kent had to resort to distorting illusions around, presenting Kandak from 5,000 years ago in front of Adam. Looking at his former homeland, he couldn't help but feel a sense of daze, as if his thoughts were transported back to the days of being mercilessly whipped as a slave. Before he could dwell on these thoughts, Hawkman's fist came whistling towards him, catching Adam off guard, igniting his fury. Seizing the opportunity to block the meteor hammer, Adam gathered power in his right hand, releasing lightning, instantly striking down his opponent. The two swiftly shifted the battlefield from the ground to the air, exchanging blows with full force. Seeing this, Adam quickly distanced himself and unleashed another lightning attack. However, Hawkman countered with equal force, momentarily catching Adam off guard, leaving him at a disadvantage. Rising from the rubble, Adam was about to counterattack when Kent commanded Cyclone to come forth and burn through the budget. As the colorful tornado spun rapidly, the steel pipes on the ground responded in kind. Amidst Cyclone's graceful dance, a barrage of attacks was unleashed towards Adam. Yet a true man never fears a formidable opponent, letting the enemy showcase their skills before breaking free with a display of thunderous might. The flying steel pipes rapidly dispersed outward like bullets, nearly turning Adriana and her son into pincushions. Thankfully, Kent intervened just in time to save them, allowing both to narrowly escape with their lives. Kent was gonna give the women their backpacks back and tell them to get the hell out of there. Adriana pointed out that although Adam didn't see himself as a hero, it didn't mean he couldn't become a defender, especially when the people of Kandak were suffering and in desperate need of a superhero to drive away the invaders from the international syndicate. Just as she finished speaking, Adriana received a distress call from her son. It turned out that the international syndicate had discovered that they had taken away the Devil's Crown. They were planning to use them as leverage to achieve their goals. Upon seeing this, Adam immediately soared into the sky and saved the boy just before he was harmed. However, As Adam shifted his focus to the mercenaries, the boy was taken away by the enemy leader as a hostage. With no other choice, Adam had to use his speed advantage to forcibly dismantle the situation. However, the enemy seemed to possess advanced technology, allowing them to escape through Adam. Numerous bystanders quickly coordinated and split up, causing Adam to struggle to lock onto a target and forcing him to search one by one. With the help of the League of Justice, only 2 vehicles remained intact. Utilizing his godlike speed, Adam quickly seized a motorcycle, only to find it empty upon opening the compartment. In frustration, he threw the mercenaries and their high-tech vehicle forward, turning them to ashes. The other mercenary quickly changed direction to flee, but even with full firepower, they couldn't shake off the Earth's mightiest man. After a fierce struggle, they both fell into the territory of the Celestial Empire. Adam stood up and noticed the wreckage in the distance. Upon opening the compartment, he once again found it empty. Realizing he had fallen for the enemy's diversion, he then tossed the mercenary who had been toying with him to the top of the mountains in a direct display of his power. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Kent deployed a clone to the scene, indicating that he could use his psychic sense to read the memories of the mercenaries and find the hiding place of the young boy. As he watched one of the mercenaries nearby scream in agony, Adam could only look embarrassed, expressing his apologies. Fortunately, with the Justice League adhering to the principle of treating captives well in battle, there was hope of extracting clues through questioning. However, Adam's interrogation methods were rough and direct. He took the 2 men through a storm to the clouds, demanding that the one who answered first would live. Upon seeing his comrade fall from the sky, the man immediately disclosed the location of the young boy. To everyone's surprise, Adam still let go and dropped the man. Hawkman, witnessing this, cursed inwardly but did not hesitate to save the falling mercenary with undiminished speed. Deciding to settle matters with fists, the 2 engaged in combat, even going as far as battering portraits of the Justice League until they unexpectedly discovered the young boy hidden with the Devil's Crown in a room. Realizing that the fist fighters had been after the crown, Adriana pleaded for unity to save her child, setting aside their differences. However, just as Hawkman was devising a plan, Adam impulsively charged alone into the enemy's stronghold. In a matter of moments, he overcame obstacles and stood before Ishmael, facing a shield crafted by eternal beings. Even Adam was powerless. In desperation, Adriana had to reluctantly hand over the Devil's Crown. Ishmael then promptly revealed his lineage, claiming to be a descendant of a tyrant entitled to the legitimate inheritance of the Kandak kingdom, provoking Adam by reminding him of his failure to save his son 5,000 years ago. Ishmael emphasized the inevitability of the boy's fate, swiftly closing the shield and aiming at the hostage. Ishmael's actions triggered painful memories in Adam, akin to a scene from the past. Although he managed to shield the boy from the bullet in time, the thunderous power within Adam quickly spiraled out of control, unleashing a powerful energy wave. Upon witnessing this, the other team members immediately displayed their abilities to protect the vulnerable, while Ishmael, holding the crown, was burnt to a crisp by the explosion's aftermath. As the boy fell into unconsciousness, Adam realized that his inability to control the power of the gods had nearly cost the boy his life. Much like his own son in the past, determined not to harm others further, Adam made the decision to voluntarily give up his superpowers.
Shazam.
With the crisis averted, the Justice League swiftly took Adam back to headquarters and placed him in a specially designed cell under a false death state, alongside other uncontrollable superpower criminals, to remain in stasis. However, shortly after leaving headquarters, Kent unexpectedly encountered the inevitable destruction that was destined to unfold. Unaffected by Adam's actions, escalating to a suffocating intensity, simultaneously, Adriana recalled a mirror-like relationship between Hell and the mortal world in Kandak mythology. To unravel the mystery above, they needed to invert the crown. They realized that Ishmael had foreseen Adam would kill him, enabling him to fall into hell with the crown's power and strike a deal with the Demon King for the power to destroy the world. As the powers of the 6 demon gods surged, the crown of Shabak quickly responded to the call. Hovering to crown its master, Ishmael finally fulfilled his long-awaited dream, transforming into a demon with ambitions to rule the world and turn the mortal realm into a hell. Returning to Kandak, the Justice League noticed this unwelcome visitor and immediately piloted fighter jets to intercept. However, they were no match for the reborn Shabak, who swiftly tore them apart, viciously smashing the cockpit to the ground. Fortunately, Hawkman managed to adjust the course and perform an emergency landing, temporarily saving everyone's lives. Before they could prepare for battle, Shabak unleashed Hellfire, with Kent quickly releasing a golden shield to block the attack, while Cyclone danced to redirect the flames' assault. The rest of the team displayed their unique abilities, determined to prevent Shabak from reaching the throne and summoning Hell's demon army. With seamless cooperation, they engaged in a relentless battle, determined to keep Shabak pinned to the ground. Unexpectedly, the opponents suddenly changed tactics, transforming into flames and knocking down all teammates. Under pressure, Hawkman had no choice but to fiercely swing his giant axe in an attempt to take down the opponent. However, the damage inflicted was negligible to Shabak, who effortlessly pushed Hawkman back hundreds of meters and then swiftly grabbed his head, flinging him into the air. As Shabak slowly entered the palace to claim the throne, Kent seemed to make a difficult decision, immediately summoning a golden shield to block his teammates' path. He had foreseen the inevitable path to destruction, and in the countless simulations, there was only one hope for victory: sacrificing himself to awaken the dormant Atom. Despite Hawkman's pleas, Kent soared upwards without hesitation, chanting a spell as he summoned a golden giant sword to strike down just as Shabak reached for the crown. Before the opponent could break free, Kent swiftly cast a spell to summon Atom, who rushed toward Shabak to buy time. However, their dazzling techniques seemed insignificant against Shabak's absolute power. Despite his strategic maneuvers, the relentless attacks could not halt Shabak's ambition to rule the world. With the opponent effortlessly countering his strongest blow, Kent seemed to fall in defeat with a sense of unwillingness in his heart. Seeing this, Hawkman immediately led his companions towards the palace, but it was already too late. Kent, now without the mighty powers of the God of Order, was easily shattered by Shabak's punch and dissipated into nothingness. The demon, with a look of disdain, kicked away the helmet, then slowly sat upon the throne, completing the final coronation ceremony. A pillar of flame soared into the sky, forcibly shattering the connection between the mortal realm and hell, clearing the way for 1,000,000 demon soldiers to descend upon the world, removing obstacles. At a critical moment, the boy chose not to flee anymore. He aimed to awaken the people of Kandak, urging them to stand up against tyranny, fight evil, and uphold the belief in freedom. Adam seemed to sense this energy and immediately uttered a spell.
Shazam.
Transforming into a bolt of lightning shooting skyward, just in time before the boy was crushed into a pulp by a statue. Adam successfully reached Kandak. Upon seeing this, Adam Smasher immediately took on the pressure, allowing Adam to fulfill his destiny and defeat the Demon King. Just as Hawkman was about to have his wings torn off, a massive fist swooped down and instantly smashed Shabak to the ground. A feud lasting 5,000 years was finally coming to an end today. Shabak launched the first attack, initiating the initial clash. Adam saw this and immediately seized the opportunity, relentlessly striking the opponent's weak points. Taking advantage, Shabak counterattacked from the ground to the sky, capitalizing on Adam's recent transformation into a deity, swiftly attacking from all sides and hammering him down. However, just as Shabak was about to deliver the fatal blow, he was suddenly ambushed from behind by Hawkman, narrowly escaping death. Drawing a steel rod, he lunged towards the opponent, only to realize he had destroyed a mere illusion. With Kent's help from his helmet, Hawkman quickly unleashed his clones, overwhelming Shabak. Adam cooperated by grabbing the demon's weak points and continued to build power, then leaped into the air and tore Shabak in half. The 1,000,000 demon soldiers, deprived of their power source, turned to ashes, returning to hell as the repaired chasm closed. Hearing the people of Kandak cheer for the defenders, Adriana suggested that Adam should take the throne and lead them towards prosperity. However, Adam believed the people of Kandak didn't need a deity to cheer for. He thought true prosperity and strength lie in civilization and freedom. In the end, Wizard found himself powerless against Adam. To keep this uncontrollable element in Kandak, he had to seek reinforcements from another planet for assistance. I am a movie enthusiast. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. See you next time.